Okay, so this will be the first time I've ever done something like this. I'm Lei Mean Xiao, or Cherry Rose 95, as that's known on my coffee page. Um, I'm a narrator for Tats Top videos. If you want to go check out some of my work, I'm a narrator and I'm also a researcher. We are working on another video. Don't worry, folks. Excuse me. Some with SCPs if you're into horror. And I'm also shut up. Run. Yeah, this. So yeah, I if you haven't seen the site, I have a coffee page where you folks can tip me for if you like my voice work. Um, the reason I have a coffee is because I got some naughtier stuff. If you get my drift. So so yeah, I didn't feel comfortable sharing. Obviously, I'm not comfortable sharing that my Tumblr because of the Puritans running it, even with the mature content being uh hidden. Um, yeah, my Tumblr. I'm so sorry. This is the first time I've ever done something like this. Um, yeah, if you want to check out my Tumblr, I got it's a hodgepodge of different stuff. I got alt fashion, my fan fictions, some of which is not safe for work, and I do also have like safe for work audios, which is like creepypasta readings and some narrative stuff, and then coffee you gain act. Coffee is the only link to my not safe for work stuff. So, and I do also have a couple of audios hidden for paid coffee subscribers because they delve into some taboo topics. So yeah. So yeah, the reason I'm doing this because let me just move. You can see a bit of my bed. Yeah, I'm doing this on like a floor of my bedroom. So Coffee had recently posted an article about how you can do different things to promote your page. Golly day, this is not that like, but one thing they suggested was having a coffee-thon, like a subathon on Twitch, except you're just getting coffee tips. I was thinking I'm attending Katsucon, which is next weekend as I'm sharing this. So I figured maybe use this as a way to get some more funding, a little more spending money for Katsucon. I am unemployed right now, so any money would definitely help, especially with getting this damn box thing. Yeah, my dad had given me this for my birthday. It is a box with you can stuff these foam pads in, and it's supposed to if one sticks their microphone in here, they will it'll help muffle out the sound around it, so like the air conditioning and such. Real help. It did work on I recently posted audio on my Tumblr and my coffee reading the classic Japanese folk story of Yuki Onna. Yeah, it did work. But just downside is these are a bit of a pain in the butt to deal with. I'm trying to keep and of course the hole if you have a standing mic, so you can shove the cables in there. I have one. If you probably saw, like, this was one my dad had given me. These are a couple Christmas ornaments I hung up just because I really should put them away. But I'm not very familiar with it. I think one of my fellow narrators on from Tats Top Videos, Solace, I think he said something about fudge. Not, I think it was like something different connections. I'm still a baby when it comes to this stuff, especially with the streaming. So yeah, this is my first stream. This is the first time I've done any sort of content creation for my YouTube. I pretty much came up with this to I pretty much I had to create this mostly because so I could keep in touch with other some channels I subscribe to, and also because I couldn't watch some of the 18 plus crap. So yeah, let me just plug in my mic. Yeah, it's just a snowball mic. It's just a snowball mic I got on Amazon. It was the first purchase I made after I got hired from Tats Top for Tats Top videos, because people recommended this was the best one for newbies. I've also been trying to deal with Audacity. Audacity still, like, I've been able to add like reverb, and I can at least cut out awkward thumping and dead air, but that's about it. Let me just plug this in. And I gotta put it in the box. Damn it. And I gotta. Oh yeah, Mean Chow. Can you also share this with? Can you also share this with somebody else? Sorry, I'm just gonna just need to share it to a couple of people. Oops. Wrong button. I'm so sorry, folks. I'm not the most professional thing on the planet. Okay, Swan on. Okay, hopefully that should get some interest. Just click out of that. Okay. Let me just. No, I better not get Audacity. And who knows? Maybe I will get some tippers or not. So I am a professional. I'll find people. Wonder if people find this endearing and not annoying. Okay, let me just. Yeah, I'm really sorry if this isn't the most professional thing on the planet. Here we go. Okay, that's my microphone plugged in, and it's probably going to sound like a potato at the moment. But yeah, the way this. Let me just. Yeah, I'm not sure if y'all can hear me now, but this is how it would work, like with the cough microphone thing. I just have it. This looks ridiculous. What the hell is? Did I not bring? Oh, right here. Okay, book. earbuds so I can make sure I'm getting all the audio things good sighted. And my water, because heaven knows I'm gonna need it. Excuse me. Okay. Yeah, these are just the Apple earbuds that came with my phone. Just use the box my mic came in. Balance. I don't really do this setup often. There's a craft room across the hallway that I usually do recording in whenever my mom's not occupied with it. So, okay. Yeah, this looks really professional. One last these things. For real though, this has been a bit of a help. The box with the foam in it. I just wet. Should have done this earlier. Yeah, I should have noted this was like a watch me fumble with my recording setup. I guess it's better than draping the fleece Overwatch fleece blanket I've had for a couple of years, because that was a suggestion of like having to when I started and muffle outside noise. It's just standing askew. Like you can't really see it because I got the charge cord plugged in. I'm silly. Okay, okay. Let me just see if I can get this. And yeah, and as you can tell, bad language. A little bit of a dirty mouth. Sorry. Ugh. And to quote a certain conservative talk person on the internet, fuck it, we'll do it live. Okay. Just put these in. Okay, so I can hear myself in editing. And let me open up Audacity, because that's what I use for recording. Yeah, Audacity is a bit of a interesting beast, as my dad has mentioned. It is a fascinating yet major pain in the ass to deal with. I actually had no idea. The funny thing is, I joined the crew in last January, because that's when I auditioned for narration. Tats herself recommended I tried out. And so, yeah. My debut was A5 common video game levels. If you want to just have some background, always go check it out. But there was a lot of downtime. It was quite a bit of development hell between like Taz herself having to record all the footage in VR chat, and also we were waiting for the script to get it. So yeah, yeah, there was quite a bit of downtime until the video debuted in like August or September. So inevitably I started farting around with recording, with reading aloud stuff, just test my narration skills. and I didn't. And in my big brain moment, I forgot how to cut out thumping from my mic and also the dead air. Because I originally tried to record on my bed. I have a laptop rest. That's how I usually I'm usually using my laptop. And of course, if I was moving around, you could hear it thump. The like if I move around, the mic would pick up like the thuds or something like that. So I ended up moving. That's why I ended up moving over to the craft room to record, because there's actually a table, and also there's a lot more shit in there to muffle the noise. So yeah. So in regards to the story I'm recording, now I picked this. This is a big book of Asian ghost stories I had picked up at Books a Million like last week. It was like $13. It's amongst some other volumes of other stuff like they have Celtic myths and legends, which I also picked up. And then there was also some other stuff like short murder mysteries, apocalypse short stories, and of course like compilations like the best of H.P. Lovecraft or Edgar Allan Poe. But I had a similar book of like Japanese myths and legends I picked up at Barnes and Noble. I got at Barnes and Noble last week. That also had some like stories of like Yuki-onna, which is what I recorded for my Tumblr and Coffee. You can go check it out if you want. But yeah, this one seems to be a bit superior to that one on my bookshelf, because that the Barnes and Noble edition seems to be really abridged. It's just like a paraphrased edition, kind of like Cliff Notes if you were trying to BS your way through a reading assignment in high school. But this one actually does credit the original author, and I think a lot of it's much more evocative, I think. But yeah, this isn't just also Japanese ghost stories. You also have stuff from China, the Philippines, India, and Indonesia. Stuff stuff you might not have heard. Let me see. Sarayashiki, cup of tea. Where the heck is it? This also had like some modern retellings. Like there was one of the stories they have is Horichi the Earless, Miminashi Horichi no Hanashi. If I'm pronouncing that right, just let me know, Japanese speakers. But that was a story of like a blind poet who he's brought to the graveyard. He's brought to the graveyard to recite something, and it turns out they're gonna curse him. So he's covered in all these tattoos, except for his ears, which the spirits are like, "Ooh, there you are." But they even have a retelling of a where it's a J-Rock star, and he's covered in like barcode tattoos. Pretty cool. Okay, where the heck is it? Why the heck did you rename it Passional Karma? Excuse me. So yeah, I may end up re-recording the Yuki-onna one with the one from this volume. But the one I'm actually going to be doing is excuse me. The one I'm actually going to be doing is Botan Doro. It's a well-known Japanese ghost story. If any of you heard of like Hon Onna, the bone woman, or if you've at least seen the anime Hell Girl or Jikoku Shoujo. So yeah, like I said, that the Barnes and Noble edition was a bit abbreviated. This one I think I found superior, so I'm gonna be recording it. I'm gonna be doing it live, doing the recording live. So with all the goof ups necessary. And don't worry, I will be giving credit to the original translator, and I will be when it gets uploaded to my Coffee and my Tumblr, I will be providing a link to the book if you want to go buy it yourself. It's only $13 US dollars at least. So yeah, but it's 3, 4. Yeah, it's split into 11 chapters, so to speak. And if you do like my narrations, don't forget you can tip me on my Coffee page, which is linked in the chat. Heads up though, it is a if you do want to listen to it, listen to any of my audios, like the naughtier stuff, you need to be 18 years old. If you don't want to, you can also check out my Tumblr that also has some of the safe for work, a little safer for work stuff, like creepypastas and such. I do provide trigger warnings in the descriptions and also links if you want to read along. But I also got some naughty fan fictions I wrote. They are spoilered under mature content though, so you should be okay. I hope. Okay. I'm just gonna be starting to record. But yeah, the story is called Botan Doro, or the Peony Lantern. It's listed here as A Passional Karma. Translated by Lafcadio Hearn. So there once lived in the district of Ushigome in Yedo a hatamoto called Ijima Heizayama. Damn it. First thing, and I already fucked up the recording. I'm kind of doing this from a cold reading. I apologize. Okay, let me just take 2. There once lived in the district of Ushigome in Yedo a hatamoto called Ijima Hezayemon, whose only daughter, Tsuyu, was beautiful as her name, which signifies morning dew. Ijima took a second wife when his daughter was about 16, and finding that Otsuyu could not be happy with her mother-in-law, he had a pretty villa built for the girl at Yanagijima as a separate residence and gave her an excellent maidservant called Oyone to wait upon her. Sorry. Now I'm just going to play back the audio, make sure it's okay. I'm probably going to be doing that a lot. Sorry. Hey, Mean Shao, make sure you jack up the volume on your laptop and the record and the microphone, because it was quiet. I'm kind of wondering how the quality of this entire damn stream's gonna be afterwards. Let me just. Let me just thing up. Okay, let me try this again. Hopefully, I adjusted the mic. Excuse me. Let me get this yawn out of my system. There once lived in the district of Ushigome in Yedo a hatamoto called Ijima Hezayemon, whose only daughter, Tsuyu, was beautiful as her name, which signifies morning dew. Okay, so this is going to be a bit better. Okay, the volume's a bit better. Okay, yeah, the volume is a lot better. But I don't know about tone though. I'm trying to. Okay, let's try this again. Hopefully, I can get. I don't know. The tone isn't quite right to me. Just listening to it in post. Huh. Let's try this again. There once lived in the district of Ushigome in Yedo a hatamoto called Iijima Heizayamon, whose only daughter, Tsuyu, was beautiful as her name, which signifies morning dew. Iijima took a second wife when his daughter was about 16, and finding that Otsuyu could not be happy with her mother-in-law, he had a pretty villa built for the girl at Yanagijima as a separate residence, and gave her an excellent maidservant called Oyone to wait upon her. Okay, let's see how this went. Okay, yeah, the tone I think I got right. So yeah, I found out I usually record in like little chunks just to so that I can get my bearings, and I've had a couple times in the past where if I was just recording in one long session, sometimes there'd be a little bit of staticky noise. So I figured like maybe if I just record in batches, I can nip it in the bud. I had to do that for recording for the SCP, this upcoming SCP list on Tats, because yeah, it was just like full passages. It was like I had like 3 entries I had to record, and also like a couple of medical longer words, so I had to like say them out loud before recording, so to speak, so they weren't so damn awkward on my tongue. Okay, next section. Otsuya lived happily enough in her new home until one day when the family physician Yamamoto Shijo paid her a visit in company with a young samurai named Hagiwara Shinzaburo, who resided in the Nedzu quarter. Shinzaburo was an unusually handsome lad and very gentle, and the two young people fell in love with each other at sight. Even before the brief visit was over, they contrived, unheard by the old doctor, to pledge themselves to each other for life. And at parting, Otsuya whispered to the youth, "Remember, if you do not come to see me again, I shall certainly die." And I think I got an email notice that somebody subscribed to me. Thank you. On the off chance you're listening to this. No, I don't have any viewers right now. And we gotta start somewhere. Okay. Yeah, that went well. Just delete this long awkward pause. Yeah, let me just shrink this Audacity window down a bit. Why must you take up so much space, Audacity? I can't even see the chat. Okay, so right now that's about 1 minute 9 seconds in Audacity. Shinzaburo never forgot those words, and he was only too eager to see more of Otsuyu. But etiquette forbade him to make the visit alone. He was obliged to wait for some other chance to accompany the doctor, who had promised to take him to the villa a second time. Unfortunately, the old man did not keep his promise. He had perceived the sudden affection of Otsuyu, and he feared that her father would hold him responsible for any serious results. Iijima Heizayemon had a reputation for cutting off heads, and the more Shijo thought about the possible consequences of his introduction of Shinzaburo at the Iijima Villa. Damn it. Goofed up. Okay, the tone is at least the same. Yeah, I don't know why the hell I decided to pronounce Villa is Via. It's Villa mean Shao. It's Villa. Okay, cut that out. Yeah, and also I'm just gonna listen to the first two parts of the recording, make sure my tone is consistent, so it doesn't seem like I recorded this in several batches. Okay, good. Tone's the same. Yay! Okay, stop that. Stop me. Mm-hmm. Now that I've separated the line that divides it, it can sound like one whole recording. What the heck is my phone also? One moment, folks. Oh. Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. Just got my phone. And thank you to Lewis Hancock for subscribing. Thank you. If you the off chance you're reading this later, don't forget to check out my coffee. If you're watching this later, I don't know. Okay. Let's try this section again. Shinzaburo never forgot those words, and he was only too eager to see more of Otsuyu. But etiquette forbade him to make the visit alone. He was obliged to wait for some other chance to accompany the doctor, who had promised to take him to the villa a second time. Unfortunately, the old man did not keep his promise. He had perceived the sudden affection of Otsuyu, and he feared that her father would hold him responsible for any serious results. Iijima Heizayemon had a reputation for cutting off heads. And the more Shijo thought about the possible consequences of his introduction of Shinzaburo at the Iijima villa, the more he became afraid. Therefore, he purposely abstained from calling upon his young friend. Months passed, and Otsuyu, little imagining the true cause of Shinzaburo's neglect, believed that her love had been scorned. Then she pined away and died. Soon afterwards, the faithful servant Oyone also died, through grief at the loss of her mistress, and the two were buried side by side in the cemetery of Shinbanzui-in, a temple which still stands in the neighborhood of Dangozaka, where the famous chrysanthemum shows are yearly held. Okay, let's see how this recording went. Ah, fudge. I forgot about the... I forgot if I pause this, if I didn't set it to, for the, playback to start recording at the next section, so... Oops. Professional, everybody! Okay, now it's... Okay, no stack yet. Okay, that came out well. So that's only the first part of Botan Doro done. Just delete the awkward white noise and make it and fuse it with let me just make sure. Okay. We just set this off. Okay, and hello to the one person who is viewing this right now. Hopefully you don't find me a bit awkward, especially since this is the first time I've done a stream of sorts. Kind of exciting, come to think of it. Okay, at least the second part is a bit shorter. Shinzaburo knew nothing of what had happened, but his disappointment and his anxiety had resulted in a prolonged illness. He was slowly recovering, but still very weak, when he unexpectedly received another visit from Yamamoto Shijo. The old man made a number of plausible excuses for his apparent neglect. Shinzaburo said to him, "I have been sick ever since the beginning of spring. Even now I cannot eat anything. Was it not rather unkind of you never to call? I thought that we were to make another visit together to the house of the late Iijima, and I wanted to take her to some little Damn it. Live, everybody. I read the story like in my free time, and you think I would be able to have a bit more of a hang of it. Okay. Let's try this. Let's try it again. Shinzaburo knew nothing of what had happened, but his disappointment and his anxiety had resulted in a prolonged illness. He was slowly recovering, but still very weak, when he unexpectedly received another visit from Yamamoto Shijo. The old man made a number of plausible excuses for his apparent neglect. Shinzaburo said to him, "I have been sick ever since the beginning of spring. Even now I cannot eat anything. Was it not rather unkind of you never to call? I thought that we were to make another visit together to the house of the late Ijima, and I wanted to take to her some little present as a return for our kind reception. Of course I could not go by myself." Shijo gravely responded, "I am very sorry to tell you that the young lady is dead." "Dead?" repeated Shinzaburo, turning white. "Did you say that she is dead?" That might have been a little awkward. Okay, I made a goof up, so I'm gonna be trying to delete. Like, namely, it was like, and I wanted to take to her, not I wanted to take her for however. Just see if I can. Yes. Okay, just gotta delete the awkward dead air in between that little sentence. Yes. It came out well, thankfully. Yeah, that came out a little like dead. Well, smidge silly to say the least. Okay, new. Dead? Shinzap. Bleh. That was a big fail already. Like, let me just. It's like, dead? Dead. Okay, yeah, that sounds a bit better. Dead? Repeated Shinzaburo, turning white. Did you say that she is dead? The doctor remained silent for a moment, as if collecting himself. Then he resumed, in the quick, light tone of a man resolved not to take trouble seriously. "My great mistake was in having introduced you to her, for it seems that she fell in love with you at once. I am afraid that you must have said something to encourage this affection, when you were in that little room together. At all events, I saw how she felt towards you, and then I became uneasy, fearing that her father might come to hear of the matter and lay the whole blame upon me. So, to be quite frank with you, I decided that it would be better not to call upon you, and I purposely stayed away for a long time. But only a few days ago, happening to visit Iijima's house, I heard, to my great surprise, that his daughter had died, and that her servant Oyone had also died. Then, remembering all that had taken place, I knew that the young lady must have died of love for you. You are really a sinful fellow, yes you are. Isn't it a sin to have been born so handsome that the girls die for love of you? Well, we must leave the dead to the dead. It is no use to talk further about the matter. All that you now can do for her is to repeat the Nembutsu. Goodbye. And the old man retired hastily, anxious to avoid further converse about the painful event for which he felt himself to have been unwittingly responsible. Which you technically are, Doctor. Just saying. I don't know if his speech is really reflecting the quick, light tone. Yeah, I may have to redo that monologue. Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo that monologue. Damn it. Okay. Okay, that's goodbye, crap, awkward monologue. Okay, how much more of this can... Okay. Yeah, so to be quite... That's how we're cut off. Oops. Okay. I think I got almost all the monologue dealt with. What's this one? Okay, good. Yep. Excuse me. Okay, yeah. No, don't delete. Fudge. Okay, let me just... In the quick, light tone of a man not taking trouble seriously. Okay. To take trouble seriously, and for me not to yawn like crazy. Let's see if this works out. My great mistake was in having introduced you to her, for it seems that she fell in love with you at once. I am afraid that you must have said something to encourage this affection when you were in that little room together. At all events, I saw how she felt towards you, and then I became uneasy, fearing that her father might come to hear of the matter and lay the whole blame upon me. So, to be quite frank with you, I decided that it would be better not to call upon you, and I purposely stayed away for a long time. But only a few days ago, happening to visit Ijima's house, I heard, to my great surprise, that his daughter had died, and that her servant Oyone had also died. Then, remembering all that had taken place, I knew that the young lady must have died of love for you. Ah, you are really a sinful fellow, yes, you are. Isn't it a sin to have been born so handsome that the girls die for love of you? Well, we must leave the dead to the dead. It is no use to talk further about the matter. All that you now can do for her is to repeat the Nembutsu. Goodbye. And the old man retired hastily, anxious to avoid further converse about the painful event for which he felt himself to have been unwittingly responsible. Okay, I think that went a little better. Maybe. Okay, tone so far sounds a bit better. Okay, so yeah, that came out a bit better. Yeah, this is probably, these parts are probably a bit boring having to let me hear these recordings again, because I don't have the tech savvy to use like capture software or whatever, so you guys could see the Audacity stream or whatever it is. Okay, and with that, the second part is done. So the doc has ditched his, ditched Shinzaburo. I'm sorry I broke your sweetie's heart. Please don't hate me. We're still good friends, right? I know Japanese. It's probably a bit different, but... Okay, part 3 is a little bit longer. I'm gonna have to definitely maybe have to split this up. And to the one person watching, Are you? Thank you for still sticking around. Oops. Shinzaburo long remained stupefied with grief by the news of Otsuyu's death, but as soon as he found himself again able to think clearly, he inscribed the dead girl's name upon a mortuary tablet and placed the tablet in the Buddhist shrine of his house and set offerings before it and recited prayers. Every day thereafter, he presented offerings and repeated the Nembutsu, and the memory of Otsuyu was never absent from his thought. Nothing occurred to change the monotony of his solitude before the time of the Bon, the great festival of the dead, which begins upon the 13th day of the 7th month. Then he decorated his house and prepared everything for the festival, handing out the lanterns that guide the returning spirits and setting the food of ghosts on the Shoryodana, or Shelf of Souls. And on the first evening of the Bon, after sundown, he kindled a small lamp before the tablet of Otsuyu and lighted the lanterns. Yeah, that I'm going to have to redo. Okay, that first paragraph was I at least nailed that. Thank God. Okay, let me just fast forward through that reading. Okay, that I had to. Oops. Awkward pause. Goodbye. Month, 7th month. Yeah, I goofed up on this one. There we go. 7th month. Okay, so I got to the point where I goofed up first. Like, Shoryodana. Okay, so that's how it's pronounced. You think having listened to a lot of J-pop and subbed anime, you would have a somewhat decent grasp on how to pronounce Japanese. Then again, I'm a white chick, so. Okay. Dang it, body. Did you have to make me yawn before I started to re-record this? Prepared everything for the festival. Handing out the lanterns that guide the returning spirits and setting the food of ghosts on the Shoryodana, or Shelf of Souls. And on the first evening of the Bon, after sundown, he kindled a small lamp before the tablet of Otsuyu and lighted the lanterns. The night was clear, with a great moon, and windless and very warm. Shinzaburo sought the coolness of his veranda. Clad only in a light summer robe, he sat there thinking, dreaming, sorrowing, sometimes fanning himself, sometimes making a little smoke to drive the mosquitoes away. Everything was quiet. It was a lonesome neighborhood, and there were few passers-by. He could hear only the soft rushing of a neighboring stream and the shrilling of night insects. But all at once the stillness was broken by the sound of women's gaita approaching. Kalkon, kalkon. And the sound drew nearer and nearer, quickly, till it reached the live hedge surrounding the garden. Then Shinzaburo, feeling curious, stood on tiptoe so as to look over the hedge, and he saw two women passing. One, who was carrying a beautiful lantern decorated with peony flowers, appeared to be a servant. The other was a slender girl of about 17, wearing a lawn-sleeved robe embroidered with designs of autumn blossoms. Almost at the same instant, both women turned their faces towards Shinzaburo, and to his utter astonishment, he recognized Otsuyu and her servant Oyone. Shit's about to happen with you, Shinzaburo. Okay, let me, just a little bit of an awkward pause. Let me just delete that. So far, so good, everybody. Okay, that actually came out pretty well. So, yay, more progress. And I got a notice that I got a reply and a comment I made for a Wendigoon video. Yeah, I follow Wendigoon. I follow Wendigoon on YouTube, and I recently watched his video about All Quiet, the movie, the black and white 1930s film All Quiet on the Western Front, which I actually read in high school. Just taking a break from narration for the time being. I took advanced English in high school. It's a slightly faster paced version of regular English, but it's not quite like AP English. But 10th grade we had to read that, and yeah, it had been quite. That was in 2010 when I did that. I was a sophomore in high school. But yeah, I know seeing Wendigoon, seeing and hearing Wendigoon's thoughts on it, compared as opposed to watching the movie myself. God, it was a ballsy movie for the 30s, especially, excuse me, with like considering it's like anti-war propaganda. They did there was a scene in the book where I'm gonna be describing some squicky. I apologize, and it's animal death, but there was a horse the narrator mentioned a horse who, no rider, but its belly was cut open with the innards hanging out, and it was still running in fear. That didn't make it in the movie, obviously, but it was just amazing that they actually did have like World War One veterans who actually did live through the events of World War One, like what they did. So I don't know how to describe it. I'm kind of rambling. Wendigoon, I do recommend you check out his channel. He does a lot of interesting stuff. Like I was introduced to him through his disturbing movies iceberg, and then I think I also saw like a series on like disturbing serial killers iceberg, and also I've seen his videos of shoot he's also done videos on taking a look at the short horror movie Skinamarink, and also looking at Osamu Dazai. He's no longer human, at least with illustrations from the Junji Ito incarnation. So yeah, do check him out. Discretion is advised. He does delve into some disturbing topics, though he does provide the warnings as need be. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn a page during this recording. Damn it. And my feet are falling asleep because I tend to. Pardon me. They stopped immediately, and the girl cried out, "Oh, how strange! Hagiwara-sama!" Shinzaburo simultaneously called to the maid, "Oyone!" "Ah, there you are, Oyone. I remember you very well." "Hagiwara-sama!" exclaimed Oyone in a tone of supreme amazement. "Never could I have believed it possible! Sir, we were told that you had died!" I don't think that tone showed utter amazement. It was more like, what the fuck? Tits. Okay, maybe listening to it now, somewhat. I'm probably gonna. I'll try that. Let me try that again, just in case. Okay, let me see. Oh. Hagiwara-sama. Okay. Because she's a servant and he's higher up on the pecking order than she is. Ugh, stop yawning me. Ugh. I'm so sorry. It's like, oh, strange. Hagiwara-sama. Yeah, I'm thinking maybe I'll give Oyone a higher pitch voice. She was probably rather young. They stopped immediately, and the girl cried out, "Oh, how strange! Hagiwara-sama!" Shinzaburo simultaneously called to the maid, "Oyone!" "There you are, Oyone. I remember you very well." "Hagiwara-sama!" exclaimed Oyone in a tone of supreme amazement. "Never could I have believed it possible! Sir, we were told that you had died!" "How extraordinary!" cried Shinzaburo. "Why, I was told that both of you were dead." "What a hateful story," returned Oyone. Why repeat such unlucky words? Who told you? Please to come in, said Shinzaburo. Here we can talk better. The garden gate is open. So they entered and exchanged greeting, and when Shinzaburo had made them comfortable, he said, I trust that you will pardon my discourtesy in not having called upon you for so long a time. But Shijo, the doctor, about a month ago told me that you both died. So it was he who told you? Exclaimed Oyone. It was very wicked of him to say such a thing. Well, it was also Shijo who told us that you were dead. I think that he wanted to deceive you, which was not a difficult thing to do because you were so confiding and trustful. Possibly my mistress betrayed her liking to you in some words which found their way to their father's ears, and in that case, Okuni, the new wife, might have planned to make the doctor tell you that we were dead. And this is not a very good. Yeah, dialogue, not quite this. Excuse me again. Wait, let me see what the first part, how much. Okay, that actually did work. Okay, yeah, the page turning is yeah, the sound of me turning the page did pick up on the recording, so let me just more dead air. Okay, so please to come in after that. It was a little wonky. But Oyone and Shinzaburo, like, who the we thought you were dead. What the hell? That came out fine, thank goodness. And I think with that, disregarding the cuts, we're at the 7.5 mark. So I have a feeling when this gets uploaded, I may have to use Google Drive instead of my Tumblr, because Tumblr only accepts like 10 megabytes in audio. This one is clearly, I think, is going to be more than 10 megabytes. So gonna have to use Google Drive. Thank God you can listen to it straight on my coffee. Ooh, a bit chilled. Yeah, we had a bit of a just our car. Somebody show off with their car. We had a bit of a warm spell here where I am, where it was like 70 degrees. That groundhog is a liar. 6 more weeks of winter in my rear. Like a word with him. But yeah. So yeah, this is the Overwatch fleece blanket I've had. I've had it since 2019. This was before Blizzard was exposed to having a dude bro work culture. So yeah, just keep my feet warm and keep my feet warm. But yeah, the warmth, it's 54 degrees Fahrenheit right now as I'm recording this. It's supposed to be a bit of a cold rain tomorrow. And Katsucon, I'm only going on the Saturday with my younger brother. That's gonna be like in the 40s. Hopefully, we're gonna be indoors for the most part. But considering I'm cosplaying as Claire Redfield from the Resident Evil franchise, namely her appearance in the Dark Side Chronicles rail shooter. Yeah, I'm probably gonna be chill. I'm also worried I'm gonna blow all my money because there's so many alt fashion people in the vendors room. But that's a can of worms for another time. Okay, please to come in. Okay. Please to come in, said Shinzaburo. Here we can talk better. The garden gate is open. So they entered and exchanged greeting, and when Shinzaburo had made them comfortable, he said, I trust that you will pardon my discourtesy in not having called upon you for so long a time. But Shijo, the doctor, about a month ago told me that you had both died. So it was he who told you? Exclaimed Oyone. It was very wicked of him to say such a thing. Well, it was also Shijo who told us that you were dead. I think that he wanted to deceive you, which was not a difficult thing to do because you're so confiding and trustful. Possibly my mistress betrayed her liking for you in some words which found their way to her father's ears, and in that case, Okuni, the new wife, might have planned to make the doctor tell you that we were dead, so as to bring about a separation. Anyhow, when my mistress heard that you had died, she wanted to cut off her hair immediately and to become a nun. But I was able to prevent her from cutting off her hair, and I persuaded her at last to become a nun only in her heart. Afterwards, her father wished her to marry a certain young man, and she refused. Then there was a great deal of trouble, chiefly caused by Okuni, and we went away from the villa and found a very small house in Yanako no Sasuke. There we are now just barely able to live by doing a little private work. My mistress has been constantly repeating the Nembutsu for your sake. Today, being the first day of the Bon, we went to visit the temples, and we were on our way home, thus late, when this strange meeting happened. Oh, how extraordinary, cried Shinzaburo. Can it be true? Or is it only a dream? Here I, too, have been constantly reciting the Nembutsu before a tablet with her name upon it. Look! And he showed them Otsuyu's tablet in its place upon the shelf of souls. We are more than grateful for your kind remembrance, returned Oyone, smiling. Now as for my mistress, she continued, turning towards Otsuyu, who had all the while remained demure and silent, half hiding her face with her sleeve. As for my mistress, she actually says that she would not mind being disowned by her father for the time of 7 existences, or even being killed by him for your sake. Come, will you not allow her to stay here tonight? Shinzaburo turned pale for joy. He answered in a voice trembling with emotion. Please remain, but do not speak loud, because there is a troublesome fellow living close by, a ninsomi called Hakuodo Yusai, who tells people's fortunes by looking at their faces. He's inclined to the curious, and it is better that he should not know. The two women remained that night in the house of the young samurai, and returned to their own home a little before daybreak. And after that night they came every night for 7 nights, whether the weather were foul or fair, always at the same hour. And Shinzaburo became more and more attached to the girl, and the twain were fettered, each to each, by that bond of illusion which is stronger than bands of iron. Okay, that's not a bit decent. That was part 3. And I've been streaming for close to an hour and 19 minutes. Let me see how this turned out. Okay, that a flood called Shinzaburo. Oops. Yeah, they left a little. So it came out like, please to come in. Okay, so far so good. Which is pretty. It's like she wanted to cut off her hair and become a nun. Yeah, that's for a woman in a Japanese woman at that time. Yeah, that was pretty big. Okay, there was an awkward pause after which the very young man she refused, and then more trouble. Oops. Maybe I should invest in a mouse. I'm using the mouse pad on my laptop. Okay, so I was able to nail Olyone's explanation, thankfully. Yeah, I apologize if this isn't quite the best stream on the planet. I mean, yeah, hiding half your face with your sleeve. I don't know if it was customary for women back in Japan to just like conceal half their face, or if it's just foreshadowing that half her face is a skeleton is a skull, like the 2019 Hellgirl movie made it to be. Anybody listening after this, please let me know in the comments. To the curious, or it's to be curious in the thing. So we do that. Okay. Yeah, he's inclined to be curious, not to the curious, though he's probably, I don't know, maybe he could be inclined to the curious folks in his life. Who knows? Damn it, why do I... He is inclined to be curious, and it is better that he should not know. The two women remained that night in the house of the young samurai, and returned to their own home a little before daybreak. And after that night, they came every night for 7 nights, whether the weather were foul or fair, always at the same hour. And Shinzaburo became more and more attached to the girl, and the twain were fettered, each to each, by that bond of illusion which is stronger than bands of iron. With that, we're finally done with part 3. Okay. Okay, yeah, that came out well. Okay, so that was part 3. I just gotta fuse these. Oops. Almost increased the size of the window I was doing this in. Wait a minute. Oops. It's an awkward pause while I was trying to say curious. Okay, close enough. Shoot. Let's see, where the heck did they... Are they lie? Go, excuse me. Oh, I'm not putting you all to sleep. The joys of recording. Not the glamorous life of a YouTube narrator. There we go. Okay. So now that I've taken care of that part, on to part 4. Damn it. Okay, part 4 is at least a little shorter. Okay, just make sure the yawn comes to pass. Now there was a man called Tomozo who lived in a small cottage adjoining Shinzaburo's residence. Tomozo and his wife Omine were both employed by Shinzaburo as servants. Both seemed to be devoted to their young master, and by his help they were able to live in comparative comfort. One night, at a very late hour, Tomozo heard the voice of a woman in his master's apartment, and this made him uneasy. He feared that Shinzaburo, being very gentle and affectionate, might be made the dupe of some cunning wanton, in which event the domestics would be the first to suffer. He therefore resolved to watch, and on the following night he stole on tiptoe to Shinzaburo's dwelling and looked through a chink in one of the sliding shutters. That probably didn't come out well. Okay. Yeah, I stumbled on might be made the dupe. At least they didn't use a certain term. Okay. goes. And was there a comma to indicate a pause? Yeah, there was. Okay. Okay, and look through a chink in one of the slime shards. I somehow I for some reason hesitated. Like, damn it. Okay. I heard something outside. Oh, there's something going on. It's just my mom. Yeah, our washer dryer is upstairs for some reason on the second floor. And looked through a chink in one of the sliding shutters. By the glow of a night lantern within the sleeping room, he was able to perceive that his master and a strange woman were talking together under the mosquito net. At first, he could not see the woman distinctly. Her back was turned to him. He only observed that she was very slim and that she appeared to be very young, judging from the fashion of her dress and hair. Putting his ear to the chink, he could hear the conversation plainly. The woman said, "And if I should be disowned by my father, would you then let me come and live with you?" Shinzaburo answered, "Most assuredly I would. Nay, I should be glad of the chance. But there is no reason to fear that you will ever be disowned by your father, for you are his only daughter, and he loves you very much. What I do fear is that some day we shall be cruelly separated." She responded softly, "Never, never could I even think of accepting any other man for my husband. Even if our secret were to become known, and my father were to kill me for what I have done, still, after death itself, I could never cease to think of you. And I am now quite sure that you yourself would not be able to live very long without me." Then, clinging closely to him, with her lips at his neck, she caressed him, and he returned her caresses. Tomozo wondered as he listened, because the language of the woman was not the language of a common woman, but the language of a lady in rank. Then he determined at all hazards to get one glimpse of her face, and he crept round the house, backwards and forwards, peering through every crack and chink. And at last he was able to see, but therewith an icy trembling seized him, and the hair of his head stood up. For the face was the face of a woman long dead, and the fingers caressing were fingers of naked bone, and of the body below the waist there was not anything. It melted off into the thinnest trailing shadow. Where the eyes of the lover deluded saw youth and grace and beauty, there appeared to the eyes of the watcher horror only, and the emptiness of death. Simultaneously, another woman's figure, and a weirder, rose up from within the chamber, and swiftly made towards the watcher, as if discerning his presence. Then, in utmost terror, he fled to the dwelling of Hakuodo Yusai, and knocking frantically in the doors, succeeded in arousing him. Okay. Maybe I was able to do all that. Yeah, I can hear my folks speaking outside. So far, so good. Okay, this last couple paragraphs of this part. Okay. For some reason, my voice broke into like one glimpse of her face. Okay, that's a bit of a unusual. See how this turned out. It came out as like one clip bunch of face. It's a little weird, but I think I'll let it go. Okay, it says here, it's like it melted off into thinnest trailing shadow, but for some reason it came out of my mouth as into the thinnest trailing shadow, but I'll let it slide. Oh. Delete the slow and awkward pause after. Okay. Yeah, I don't know why it says another woman's figure, comma, and a weirder comma. I don't know if that was a goof up in printing or if that was how the original tale was, but okay. Part 5. And after this chapter 4, part 4, we are at 1340, close to the 13-minute 41 mark. Excuse me. Hakuodo Yusai, the Ninsomi, was a very old man, but in his time he had traveled much, and he had heard and seen so many things that he could not be easily surprised. Yet the story of the terrified Tomozo both alarmed and amazed him. He had read in ancient Chinese books of love between the living and the dead, but he had never believed it possible. Now, however, he felt convinced that the statement of Tomozo was not a falsehood, and that something very strange was really going on in the house of Hagiwara. Should the truth prove to be what Tomozo imagined, then the young samurai was a doomed man. "If the woman be a ghost," said Yusai to the frightened servant, "if the woman be a ghost, your master must die very soon, unless something extraordinary can be done to save him. And if the woman be a ghost, the signs of death will appear upon his face, for the spirit of the living is yoki and pure, and and the spirit of the dead is inky and unclean. The one is positive, the other negative. He whose bride is a ghost cannot live. Even though in his blood there existed the force of a life of 100 years, that force must quickly perish. Still, I shall do all that I can to save Hagiwara-sama. And in the meantime, Tomozo, say nothing to any other person, not even to your wife, about this matter. At sunrise, I shall call upon your master. Oops. That thumb definitely picked up. Okay, so the first part of that came out well. Sorry, my laptop, I just pushed it back. I'm using a container with a bunch of odds and ends stored underneath it, so that's a table. Okay, there was no and, like, comparing the, yeah, for the spirit of the living is yoki and pure. Then, semicolon hyphen, the spirit of the dead. Actually, I'll leave it there. There was just the thumping of my book. Oh, that was all of chapter 5. Hooray! So now we're on part 6. Hooray! Actually, let me take a bit of a break. Excuse me. Okay, let me just... Yeah, I also play Pokemon Go, and there's a Lileep here. It is not a shiny Lileep. Shiny Spritzee! Yay! I'll definitely take that. Yeah, I got a shiny Yungoos the other day. Nothing to write home about, but still fun. Fun to get. But yeah, I forgot Spritzee was a shiny. So, I'm not too keen on its evolution Aromatisse, but that's like a can flamenco dancer. Let me just see what I... Yeah, I'm still on the Lovely Wishes special research, which I'm at catch 25 Pokemon. I'm at 17 of... Earn 25,000 XP. I'm at 17,600 XP. And send 25 gifts to friends. I've sent 11. Let me share. Give more gifts. And no, I'm not going to be accepting any friend requests for Pokemon Go. I don't quite feel right doing that at the moment. I just want to keep some semblance of privacy. Because also the gifts I send, it's going to give out my exact the rough part of where I live in Virginia. So hope y'all understand. Messages. I have a crap ton of stickers I gotta get rid of. Oops. Characters. No, I don't want to. Yeah, I have stickers from like 2022's Go Fest. Okay. It's another gift. Little fun Pokeball sticker. Yeah, if you couldn't tell by my username, like Mean Shout, I do like Pokemon. Mean Shout's probably one of my favorites. I love how elegant and badass it looks. And I was fortunate enough to find a plushie available of Mean Shout. It was at a comics shop south of where I'm from. But thankfully, they're actually going to be one of the vendors at Katsucon. So I'm kind of excited to see what they actually have in real life. But they seem to specialize in Pokemon, like Pokemon cards, plushies, or those little gachapon figures from Japan. So I'm definitely curious to see what they have. And also, there was like a Pokemon themed cosplay meetup in the over on the fountain that's on the ground floor. So my brother's thinking maybe he'll break out his Team Skull Grunt cosplay and go mess around with some of the other cosplayers. But yeah, I would like to go there, but inevitably I may end up overhearing spoilers for Pokemon Scarlet and Violet. I got Violet for Christmas. Hopefully give it some time for the glitches to get smushed out. But okay. But yeah, I've gotten up to in my Violet game, I've beaten the first two gym leaders, Katie, the bug type Baker and Cortando, and then Brassius, the goth looking grass gym leader in Artazon. And I've also defeated the Cloth and Bombardier Titans, and I've also beaten Giacomo and Mela from Team Star, the Dark and Fire leaders, respectively. So I'm now in Navincia, the little seaside town with Eolno, the little electric type live streamer. Yeah, I've been enjoying it so far, just getting lost around Paldea and trying not to run into bloodthirsty Pokemon. I've actually gotten 2 shinies. I'm rather impressed. I've gotten a Cloth and a shiny Cloth and a shiny Makuhita. Full chance shinies. So that was quite surprising. Let's see. Part 6. The part where Yusai is like, dude, you're seeing a ghost. Stop it. You're getting into some necrophilia shit. Not like that. When questioned next morning by Yusai, Shinzaburo at first attempted to deny that any woman had been visiting his house, but finding his artless policy of no avail, they goofed. Excuse me. Let's try this again. Any women This artless policy. Okay. That's where I goofed up. When questioned next morning by Yusai, Shinzaburo at first attempted to deny that any women had been visiting the house, but finding this artless policy of no avail and perceiving that the old man's purpose was altogether unselfish, he was finally persuaded to acknowledge that what had really occurred and to give his reasons for wishing to keep the matter a secret. As for the Lady Ijima, he intended, he said to make her his wife as soon as possible. Oh, madness, cried Yusai, losing all patience in the intensity of his alarm. Know, sir, that the people who have been coming here, night after night, are dead. Some frightful delusion is upon you. Why, the simple fact that you long supposed Otsuya to be dead and repeated the Nembutsu to her and made offerings before her tablet is itself the proof. The lips of the dead have touched you. The hands of the dead have caressed you. Even at this moment, I see in your face the signs of death, and you will not believe. Listen to me now, sir. I beg of you, if you wish to save yourself. Otherwise, you have less than 20 days to live. They told you, those people, that they were residing in the district of Shitaya in Yanako no Sasaki. Did you ever visit them at that place? No, of course you did not. Then go today, as soon as you can, to Yanako no Sasaki and try to find their home. I need to redo that because that I don't think that take was very good in my opinion. What the hell? Oh. I was almost done with the throwing out that part is the audio. Oh, sorry. Oh, excuse me. Probably making you all yawn and really tired. When questioned the next morning by Yuzo, Shinzaburo at first attempted to deny that any women had been visiting the house, but finding this artless policy of no avail and perceiving that the old man's purpose was altogether unselfish, he was finally persuaded to acknowledge what had really occurred and to give his reasons for wishing to keep the matter a secret. As for the Lady Ijima, he intended, he said, to make her his wife as soon as possible. Oh, madness, cried Yusai, losing all patience in the intensity of his alarm. Know, sir, that the people who have been coming here, night after night, are dead. Some frightful delusion is upon you. Why, the simple fact that you long supposed Otsuya to be dead and repeated the Nembutsu for her and made offerings before her tablet is itself the proof. The lips of the dead have touched you. The hands of the dead have caressed you. Even at this moment, I see in your face the signs of death, and you will not believe. Listen to me now, sir. I beg of you, if you wish to save yourself. Otherwise, you have less than 20 days to live. They told you, those people, that they were residing in the district of Shitaya in Yanako no Sasaki. Did you ever visit them at that place? No, of course you did not. Then go today, as soon as you can, to Yanako no Sasaki and try to find their home. And having uttered this counsel with the most vehement earnestness, Hakuodo Yusai abruptly took his departure. Okay, I think that came out a bit better. Gotta stretch out my fingers. Clutching the book is a bit of a pain. Okay, that came out good. Okay, it's good. 20 days to live as opposed to 7 days to live. Okay, that came out good. Let's see. Just cut the awkward silence out. No. Excuse me. Let me just. It's like, what do you mean my sweetheart's a ghost? Let me go check. Let me go see where she and her servants have lived. Damn itself. Shinzaburo, startled, though not convinced, resolved after a moment's reflection to follow the advice of the Ninsomi and to go to Shitaya. It was yet early in the morning when he reached the quarter of Yanako no Sasuke and began his search for the dwelling of Otsuyu. He went through every street and side street, read all the names inscribed at the various entrances, and made inquiries whenever an opportunity presented itself. But he could not find anything resembling the little house mentioned by Oyone, and none of the people whom he questioned knew of any house in the quarter inhabited by 2 single women. Feeling at last certain that further research would be useless, he turned homeward by the shortest way, which happened to lead through the grounds of the temple Shinbanzui-in. Suddenly, his attention was attracted by 2 new tombs placed side by side at the rear of the temple. One was a common tomb, such as might have been erected for a person of humble rank. The other was a large and handsome monument, and hanging before it was a beautiful peony lantern, which had probably been left there at the time of the Festival of the Dead. Shinzaburo remembered that the peony lantern carried by Oyone was exactly similar, and the coincidence impressed him as strange. He looked again at the tombs, but the tombs explained nothing. Neither bore any personal name, only the Buddhist kaimyo, or posthumous appellation. Then he determined to seek information at the temple. An acolyte stated, in reply to his questions, that the large tomb had recently been erected for the daughter of Iijima Hisaemon, the Hatamoto of Ushigome, and that the small tomb next to it was that of her servant Oyone, who had died of grief soon after the young lady's funeral. You're boned. I probably shouldn't have said that joke. Okay, yeah, there was an awkward stumbling there. Cute. Okay, there was an awkward, like, clicking of the tongue. crap, there was a thumping. Okay, no, I don't want to sign a political related petition email. Okay. Okay. So yeah, I goofed up that last part. Agline stated in current question. Okay, in reply to his questions, that the large tomb had been recently erected for the daughter of Iijima Heizayemon, the Hatamoto of Ushigome, and that the small tomb next to it was that of her servant Oyone, who had died of grief soon after the young lady's funeral. Immediately to Shinzaburo's memory there recurred, with another and sinister meaning, the words of Oyone. We went away and found a very small house in Yanaka no Sasaki. There we are now, just barely able to live by doing a little private work. Here was indeed the very small house, and in Yanaka no Sasaki, but the little private work? Terror-stricken, the samurai hastened with all speed to the house of Yusai and begged for his counsel and assistance. But Yusai declared himself unable to be of any aid in such a case. All that he could do was to send Shinzaburo to the high priest Ryoseki of Shinbanzui Inn with a letter praying for immediate religious help. Okay, good. So, tone of voice is still intact. Okay, so with Yone's flash words, oops, sorry about that. I'm going to be adding a bit of a reverb, like an echo. Okay, so effect, reverb. Yeah, 50%. Okay, so the reverb has been added, so it should. Okay, yeah, that came out well. Yeah, so reverb is about the only effect I've been able to apply relatively well. I did do a voice lowering effect for the creepypasta reading morbus.avi, like at the end. Definitely not. It wasn't like it didn't exactly sound like how it was in the story, but I kind of figured like maybe it would be making it interesting. What the hell was that kind of moment for listeners? I don't know. You can give it a chance. It's on my Tumblr and Coffee page. Okay. Okay, so that was part 6. Or part... Yeah, that was part 6. We just cut off the... It's about 19 minutes, at least 19 minutes. Okay. Okay, let me cut out the awkward... Okay. There's part 6, and now, yeah, we're 19 minutes and 6 seconds and 2 hours, 8 minutes of this streaming. Yeah. But now we're on part 7, and it's a shorter bit. Yay. Pardon me. The high priest Ryoseki was a learned and a holy man. But spiritual vision, he was able to know the secret of any sorrow and the nature of the karma that had caused it. He heard unmoved the story of Shinzaburo and said to him that I need to redo this. It's like by spiritual vision, with not but spiritual vision. The high priest Ryoseki was a learned and a holy man. By spiritual vision, he was able to know the secret to any sorrow and the nature of the karma that had caused it. He heard unmoved the story of Shinzaburo and said to him, "A very great danger now threatens you because of an error committed in one of your former states of existence. The karma that binds you to the dead is very strong, but if I tried to explain its character, you would not be able to understand. I shall therefore tell you only this, that the dead person has no desire to injure you out of hate, feels no enmity towards you. She is influenced, on the contrary, by the most passionate affection for you. Probably the girl has been in love with you from a time long preceding your present life, from a time of not less than 3 or 4 past existences, and it would seem that, although necessarily changing her form and condition at each succeeding birth, she has not been able to cease from following after you. Therefore, it will not be an easy thing to escape from her influence. But now I am going to lend you this powerful mamori. It is a pure gold image of that Buddha called the sea-sounding Tathagata, Kai no Onyorai, because his preaching of the law sounds through the world like the sound of the sea. And this little image is especially a shiryo-yoke, which protects the living from the dead. This you must wear in its covering next to your body, under the girdle. Besides, I shall presently perform in the temple a Sagaki service for the repose of the troubled spirit. And here is a holy sutra called Ubo Darani Kyo, or Treasure Raining Sutra. You must be careful to recite it every night in your house without fail. Furthermore, I shall give you this package of ofuda. You must paste one of them over every opening of your house, no matter how small. If you do this, the power of the holy texts will prevent the dead from entering. But whatever may happen, do not fail to recite the sutra." Shinzaburo humbly thanked the high priest, and then, taking with him the image, the sutra, and the bundle of sacred texts, he made all haste to reach his home before the hour of sunset. Okay. Not sure how this one turned out in a post, but... binds you to the dead is very strong, but if I tried to explain its character, you would not be able to understand. Okay, there was an awkward long pause. Okay, I think I stumbled. Tatagata. There's a little circumflex, little accent on the second name Tatagata. I think I goofed that one up. Sorry. Tatan. Yeah, it's like Tatan. It's like, oh crap, I screwed up the pronunciation. Kai onyorai. Silly. Yeah, I may have to redo that part of the speech because I don't think that was a very I think at this rate, this may end up usurping the Devil's Game reading as probably my longest. Okay, let me try that part of the instructions again. As is like, holy day. Okay. It is a pure gold image of that Buddha called the sea-sounding Tathagata, Kaion Nyorai, because his preaching of the law sounds through the world like the sound of the sea. And this little image is especially a Shiryo Yoke, which protects the living from the dead. This you must wear in its covering next to your body, under the girdle. Besides, I shall presently perform in the temple a Sagaki service for the repose of the troubled spirit. And here is a holy sutra called Uho Daranai Kyo, or Treasure Raining Sutra. You must be careful to recite it every night in your house without fail. Furthermore, I shall give you this package of ofuda. You must paste one of them over every opening of your house, no matter how small. If you do this, the power of the holy texts will prevent the dead from entering. But whatever may happen, do not fail to recite the sutra. Shinzaburo humbly thanked the high priest, and then, taking with him the image, the sutra, and the bundle of sacred texts, he made all haste to reach his home before the hour of sunset. think that came out of it better. A Senkaki service for the powers of the troubled spirit. Oops. Ubo. Ubo. Hate when I have to. And with that, part 7 is done. Yay! And my foot's falling asleep because I'm sitting on it. There we go. Let me just. Ugh. Okay, 8 is a bit longer. Oops. Let me just take a break and take care of a cell phone game for a moment. Well, my foot gains the feeling back in its system. Ooh, I hate the pins and needles feeling as your extremities gain the feeling back in their system. Yeah, it's the game I'm checking on. It's Love Nikki Dress Up Queen. I've been playing it since 2017, I think. So yeah, I think the only time I had to cut it out was twice because there was a goof up. There was a goof up regarding like those who connected their accounts to Facebook, like me. Facebook wasn't reading it, and I missed an entire event. And there was also a another one of those hell events where they have like a long-term pavilion with some unique items that they were drawing from. I was unable. I had to offload the app because my phone at the time did not have enough storage on hand, so that was a bit of a bummer. So, yeah, this phone I'm currently using, I've had since October. So, because my old phone had 32 gigs, this one has 64 gigs. Much better. Okay. Okay. Okay, so let's move on to part 8. I'm thinking I might post this on maybe I'll post this on Valentine's Day or maybe the day before, I'm not sure. It's still a spook. It's a love story, just a spooky one of sorts. Maybe. I don't know. Last swig of water. With Yusai's advice and help, Shinzaburo was able before dark to fix the holy texts over all the apertures of his dwelling. Then the Ninsomi returned to his own house, leaving the youth alone. Night came, warm and clear. Shinzaburo made fast the doors, bound the precious amulet about his waist, entered the mosquito net, and by the glow of his night lantern began to recite the Ubo Daranai Kyo. For a long time he chanted the words, comprehending little of their meaning. Then he tried to obtain some rest, but his mind was still too much disturbed by the strange events of the day. Midnight passed, and no sleep came to him. At last he heard the boom of the great temple bell of Densu-in announcing the 8th hour. It ceased, and Shinzaburo suddenly heard the sound of Geta approaching from the old direction, but this time more slowly. Kanakuron, kanakuron. At once a cold sweat broke over his forehead. Opening the sutra hastily, with trembling hand, he began again to recite it aloud. The steps came nearer and nearer, reached the live hedge, stopped. Then, strange to say, Shinzaburo felt unable to remain under his mosquito net. Something stronger even than his fear impelled him to look, and instead of continuing to recite the Uho Daranai Kyo, he foolishly approached the shutters, and through a chink peeked out into the night. Before the house he saw Otsuyu standing, and Oyone with the peony lantern, and both of them were gazing at the Buddhist texts pasted about the entrance. Never before, not even in what time she lived, had Otsuyu appeared so beautiful, and Shinzaburo felt his heart drawn towards her with a power almost resistless. Let's see. Okay, I felt like it went well, just a slight stumble in one part towards the end of that. Oh, second viewer. Hi there. Paste a bow. Paste a bow of the entrance, as I said that. I'll just leave it in there. That's it. Pasted a bow. Oh my god, mean shell. Yeah, hello to the two people who are watching this. Yeah, the expectation. Yeah, I imagine I shared your expectations of how narrators work. It's a lot of. Okay, I'm gonna have to turn the page. But the terror of death and the terror of the unknown restrained. And there went on within him such a struggle between his love and his fear that he became as one suffering in the body the pains of the Shōnetsu hell. Presently he heard the voice of the maidservant saying, "My dear mistress, there is no way to enter. The heart of Hagiwara-sama must have changed, for the promise that he made last night has been broken, and the doors have been made fast to keep us out. We cannot go in tonight. It will be wiser for you to make up your mind not to think any more about him, because his feeling towards you has certainly changed. It is evident that he does not want to see you, so it will be better not to give yourself any more trouble for the sake of a man whose heart is so unkind." But the girl answered, weeping, "Oh, to think that this could happen after the pledges which we made to each other! Often I was told that the heart of a man changes as quickly as the sky of autumn, yet surely the heart of Hagiwara-sama cannot be so cruel that he should really intend to exclude me in this way. Dear Yone, please find some means of taking me to him. Unless you do, I will never, never go home again." Thus she continued to plead, veiling her face with her long sleeves, and very beautiful she looked, and very touching, but the fear of death was strong upon her lover. Oyone at last made answer, "My dear young lady, why will you trouble your mind about a man who seems to be so cruel? Well, let us see if there be no way to enter at the back of the house. Come with me." And taking Otsuyu by the hand, she led her away toward the rear of the dwelling, and there the two disappeared as suddenly as the light disappears when the flame of a lamp is blown out. Okay. Yeah, delete the obvious sound of a page being turned, because that was how it was printed. Above about him. Probably gonna end up in an awkward edit, but okay. Okay, I know Otsuyu was supposed to be a bit distraught, but it's like... Let me see. Let me see. Okay, let's see how that came out. Yes, got it. Oops. Okay, I said come with me. Okay. Yeah, let's break into the back. That should. Okay, awkward thumping from. Okay, so that is part 8. Oops. Yay. Okay, we're at part 9, and this audio has at least hit over the 25-minute mark. So that's interesting. And I've been recording for 2.5 hours. As I said, I'm sorry if this isn't the most interesting thing on the planet. I can't exactly show I can't exactly share what the heck I'm seeing on the Audacity screen, and you can't hear the takes. So. But we are approaching the end, at least. And now my right foot's about to fall asleep. Night after night, the shadows came at the hour of the ox, and nightly Shinzaburo heard the weeping of Otsuyu. Yet he believed himself saved, little imagining that his doom had already been decided by the character of his dependents. Tomozo had promised Yusai never to speak to any other person, not even to Omine, of the strange events that were taking place. But Tomozo was not long suffered by the haunters to rest in peace. Night after night, Oyone entered into his dwelling and roused him from his sleep, and asked him to remove the ofuda placed over one very small window at the back of his master's house. And Tomozo, out of fear, as often promised her to take away the ofuda before the next sundown, but never by day could he make up his mind to remove it, believing that evil was intended to Shinzaburo. At last, in a night of storm, Oyone startled him from slumber with a cry of reproach, and stooped above his pillow and said to him, "Have a care how you trifle with us. If by tomorrow night you do not take away that text, you shall learn how I can hate." And she made her face so frightful as she spoke that Tomozo nearly died of terror. Maybe she's a bone woman. You're not saved, Shinzaburo. Elephant. Okay, as often. Okay. Okay, there was still an awkward pause and out of fear as often. So let me see. Okay, that sounds better. Okay, that came out pretty decent. So yeah, only let my mistress see her lover. Otherwise, I'm going to scare you to death, like you do. Omine, the wife of Tomozo, had never till then known of these visits. Even to her husband, they had seemed like bad dreams. But on this particular night, it chanced that, waking suddenly, she heard the voice of a woman talking to Tomozo. Almost in the same moment, the talking ceased, and when Omine looked about her, she saw, by the light of the night lamp, only her husband, shuddering and white with fear. The stranger was gone, the doors were fast. It seemed impossible that anybody could have entered. Nevertheless, the jealousy of the wife had been aroused, and she began to chide and to question Tomozo in such a manner that he thought himself obliged to betray the secret and to explain the terrible dilemma in which he had been placed. Then the passion of Omine yielded to wonder and alarm, but she was a subtle woman, and she devised immediately a plan to save her husband by the sacrifice of her master, and she gave Tomozo a cunning counsel, telling him to make conditions with the dead. They came again on the following night at the hour of the ox, and Omine hid herself on hearing the sound of their coming. Kanakalon, kanakalon. But Tomozo went out to meet them in the dark, and even found courage to say to them what his wife had told him to say. Okay, cut out that long pause. Oh. Okay. Yes, got it. Make conditions with the dead. Long pause. Isn't that a rustling I heard? Like, that you're going to be selling your soul to the devil. Okay, so what do you want? What does Tomozo and Omine want? It is true that I deserve your blame, but I had no wish to cause you anger. The reason that the Ofuda has not been taken away is that my wife and I are able to live only by the help of Hagiwara-sama, and that we cannot expose him to any danger without bringing misfortune upon ourselves. But if we could obtain the sum of 100 ryo in gold, we should be able to please you, because we should then need no help from anybody. Therefore, if you will give us 100 ryo, I can take the Ofuda away without being afraid of losing our only means of support. When he had uttered these words, Oyone and Otsuyu looked at each other in silence for a moment. Then Oyone said, Mistress, I told you that it was not right to trouble this man, as we have no just cause of ill will against him. But it is certainly useless to fret yourself about Hagiwara-sama, because his heart has changed towards you. Now once again, my dear young lady, let me beg you not to think any more about him. But Otsuyu, weeping, made answer, Dear Yone, whatever may happen, I cannot possibly keep myself from thinking about him. You know that you can get 100 ryo to have the Ofuda taken off. Only once more, I pray, dear Yone. Only once more bring me face to face with Hagiwara-sama. I beseech you. And hiding her face with her sleeve, she thus continued to plead. Oh, why will you ask me to do these things? Responded Oyone. You know very well that I have no money. But since you will persist in this whim of yours, in spite of all that I can say, I suppose that I must try to find the money somehow and to bring it here tomorrow night. Then turning to the faithless Tomozo, she said, Tomozo, I must tell you that Hagiwara-sama now wears upon his body a mamori called by the name of Kai Onyorai, and that so long as he wears it, we cannot approach him. So you will have to get that mamori away from him by some means or other, as well as to remove the Ofuda. Tomozo feebly made answer, That also I can do, if you will promise to bring me the 100 ryo. Well, mistress, said Oyone, you will wait, will you not, until tomorrow night? Oh, dear Yone, sobbed the other. Have we to go back tonight again without seeing Hagiwara-sama? It is cruel. And the shadow of the mistress, weeping, was led away by the shadow of the maid. Okay. I think that came out relatively. Yes, take the Ofuda away. We won't leave support. Your master was told if he continued to conspire with the dead, he was going to be dying soon. Jackass. Yeah, you can easily get 100. Get an exorbitant amount of money, even though you're a servant. We could just conjure it from thin air, or go find a dragon's horde. That's Europe, though, with dragon hordes, is it not? I have no money. Okay, so yeah, the part went well according to me listening. So I gotta let me see. I got the munchies. Hey, so Lewis, was that are those wide eyes like my skills or the fact I have a coffee or what's going on? If you're able to respond, of course. Come on. Here we go. Okay, let me find where it broke from audio number 9 to audio number 10. There we go. And then, okay, we're almost approaching the 30-minute mark, folks. Okay, we're in part 10 now. We're this and part 11, and we're done. I can let you guys go into the ether. And then I can go down and get me something to eat because I got my belly's rumbling. Another day went, and another night came, and the dead came with it. But this time no lamentation was heard without the house of Hagiwara, for the faithless servant found his reward at the hour of the ox, and removed the ofuda. Moreover, he had been able, while his master was at the bath, to steal from its case the golden mamori, and to substitute for it an image of copper, and he had buried the Kai on Nyorai in a desolate field. So the visitants found nothing to oppose their entering. Veiling their faces with their sleeves, they rose and passed, like a streaming of vapor, into the little window from over which the holy text had been torn away. But what happened thereafter within the house, Tomozo never knew. The sun was high before he ventured again to approach his master's dwelling and to knock upon the sliding doors. For the first time in years, he obtained no response, and the silence made him afraid. Repeatedly, he called and received no answer. Then, aided by Omine, he succeeded in effecting an entrance and making his way alone into the sleeping room, where he called again in vain. He rolled back the rumbling shutters to admit the light, but still within the house there was no stir. Okay. Let's cut off this. Okay, audio number 10, are you okay? Yeah, I think listening to this is definitely going to have to be on Google Drive. Yeah, what happened in the house, Tomozo never knew. Probably, as TV Tropes calls it, a moment of I love the dead. Still within the house, there was no stir. Yeah, I had to cut it off there because I had to cut off the audio because I have to turn a page again. Okay, there we go. At last, he dared to lift a corner of the mosquito net, but no sooner had he looked beneath than he fled from the house with a cry of horror. Shinzaburo was dead, hideously dead, and his face was the face of a man who had died in the uttermost agony of fear. And lying beside him in the bed were the bones of a woman, and the bones of the arms and the bones of the hands clung fast about his neck. Okay, that was a little shorter thing than I thought. So surprise, your sweetheart is a yokai. Okay. Let me just cut off the let me blur the line between audio 10 and 11. And we're going on to the last part. So number 11. Yeah, this is a 31 and a half minutes now recording. So probably I'd have to check the other recordings because I know the Devil Game reading was a half hour at least, but I don't know how long. It was still, I deemed it was the longest audio I've done. So Hakuodo Yusai, the fortune teller, went to view the corpse at the prayer of the faithless Tomozo. The old man was terrified and astonished at the spectacle, but looked about him with a keen eye. He soon perceived that the Ofuda had been taken from the little window at the back of the house, and on searching the body of Shinzaburo, he discovered that the golden mamori had been taken from its wrapping and a copper image of Fudo put in place of it. He suspected Tomozo of the theft, but the whole occurrence was so very extraordinary that he thought it prudent to consult with the priest Ryoseki before taking further action. Therefore, after having made a careful examination of the premises, he betook himself to the temple Shinbanzui-in as quickly as his aged limbs could bear him. Ryoseki, without waiting to hear the purpose of the old man's visit, at once invited him into a private apartment. "You know that you are always welcome here," said Ryoseki. "Please seat yourself at ease." "Well, I am sorry to tell you that Hagiwara-sama is dead." Yusai wonderingly exclaimed, "Yes, he is dead, but how did you learn of it?" The priest responded, "Hagiwara-sama was suffering from the results of an evil karma, and his attendant was a bad man. What happened to Hagiwara-sama was unavoidable. His destiny had been determined from a time long before his last birth. It will be better for you not to let your mind be troubled by this event." Yusai said, "I have heard that a priest of pure life may gain power to see into the future for 100 years, but truly this is the first time in my existence that I have had proof of such power. Still, there is another matter about which I am very anxious." "You mean," interrupted Ryoseki, "the stealing of the holy Mamori, the Kaion Nyorai? But you must not give yourself any concern about that. The image has been buried in a field, and it will be found there and returned to me during the 8th month of the coming year. So please do not be anxious about it." More and more amazed, the old Dinsomi ventured to observe, "I have studied the Inyo and the science of divination, and I make my living by telling people's fortunes, but I cannot possibly understand how you know these things." Ryoseki answered gravely, Never mind how I happen to know them. I now want to speak to you about Hagiwara's funeral. The house of Hagiwara has its own family cemetery, of course, but to bury him there would not be proper. He must be buried beside Otsuyu, the Lady Ijima, for his karma relation to her was a very deep one, and it is but right that you should erect a tomb for him at your own cost, because you have been indebted to him for many favors. Thus it came to pass that Shinzaburo was buried beside Otsuyu in the cemetery of Shinbanzui-in in Yanaka no Sasaki. Hui! And that is the end of Botan Doro. Let me just take a quick listen. Okay. Okay, it sounds good so far for this last part. Okay, let me just... Awkward pause, shortened. $32.5 now with the audio. Cut out another awkward pause. Okay, it's still sounding good. Still sounding good so far. Okay, that came out really well. So yeah, now that I'm done recording the stories, thank God. Yeah, I had two different bookmarks. Like this one, I was keeping track of where I was in the story, and the old one, just a crochet wrapper for a yarn. I had where I'm currently reading, so probably do a little more. Okay, so now that everything is just got to export as an MP3. Little Redux. Save. Allegedly 40 seconds. Okay, so the audio topped out at a little over 34 minutes, 33 seconds. And it's taken me 3 hours and 3 minutes to stream the results in term. And that's doesn't count like the first 28. I don't really count the first 20 minutes. That was just me waffling about trying to set my microphone and noise cancellation box. Hopefully I'm hoping it came out. I'm hoping the sound turns out okay. I may fart around with it after I get off this stream. So who knows? No, I don't want to save the project. Okay. Fleek. That was a bit. So yeah. That's just a slight taste of what I do for recording. It didn't really the old one, it didn't take me that long to record, mostly because, like I said, it was abridged. This longer one, I just felt like it had more to deal with. It didn't feel like I was, like I said, it didn't feel like I was reading the Cliff Notes version. Go away, political email. So yeah, to the 2 people sticking around, thank you for bearing with me. Hopefully I didn't bore you to death, and yeah, hopefully I didn't bore you to death with the long silent stretches of me trying to listen to my recordings back on Audacity. But yeah, this was part of an experiment with coffee, like the coffee challenge. Try to promote your page with something different. So I figured maybe a live stream, see if I get any coffee donations. I didn't, but I at least got a new subscriber. So Lewis Hancock, on the off chance you're still watching this, thank you so much. Hopefully I can do some more streams like this in the future where it's not as awkward and the camera quality isn't in potato vision. I'm just using the webcam that's built into my laptop. But yeah, like I said, I'm a narrator and researcher for the YouTube channel Tats Top Videos. We are currently working on an SCP related countdown video. So I'll be narrating that. And I'm not sure when the heck that is going to be available. I did submit my recordings last month. Tats herself, she still needs to like animate the thing, and I can get some more stuff from the other narrators. And yeah, so Tats Top Videos, that's my primary thing. I've done top 85 common levels in video games, top 50 scariest Easter eggs in video games 2, which is a sequel to one of the big fan favorite lists. And I've also done 2 short lists that we have, like top 10 Santa bosses in video games and top 10 strangest racing games. Those are the 2 newest videos we have. They're little one shots because we have so many ideas that are really niche, like stick at weapons in games. That is really niche. And even like driving horror games. So we have like these shorter lists in between longer fan requested stuff. I know the next big list we wanted to do was like video game food you clearly don't want to eat. Like for the instance we gave was like Bioshock Infinite. Apparently if you go into the restrooms, there is a potato in the toilet. You have option of consuming toilet potato. But would you want to consume the toilet potato? So yeah, there's a lot of nasty entries. So much poop. I'll spare you the details. I'll let you wait until the list comes out, but some of that's pretty nasty. And we also have like top 100 worst games. That's like an ongoing project. That's gonna be the last time we're gonna be doing videos with over 50 entries because it just takes an eternity to produce. As I said earlier in the stream, the top 85 common levels in video games was a kind of in development hell because Tats herself had to go on VR chat to record the footage of like different places, and there was also some issues with the script writing team. They were taking a while to submit their entries, and then they had to edit. It had to be edited for puns. So yeah, that was the downtime from that. That was in between like internet creepypastas, which came out prior to that, and then common levels in games. Yeah, that was a while. That's kind of why I turned over to reading stories aloud just to practice my narration skills and kill some time because I had a microphone I wanted to play with. So yeah, I'm just rambling at this moment. So yeah, like I said, if you want, I am on Tumblr. That's my primary social media thing. TheLayMeanShow.tumblr.com. I have the creepypasta readings, and I also have some. I also reblog like Japanese street fashion, stuff that makes me laugh, Pokemon. I do also have some not safe. I do also have some fan fiction, some of which is not safe for work, though it is filtered behind the mature whatchamacallit Tumblr recently introduced. But yeah, some of the stuff is not safe for work, though I do try to hide it under a mature filter. And you can also check out the fanfiction on my archive of our own page. Same pen name, Delay Mean Shao. I would leave me a kudos, that would be nice. And my coffee, which is pinned in the chat, Cherry Rose 95, you can the tip, it's as low as $3 US. Anything that would certainly help. It's also I also do have links to some of the naughtier audios I've tried out in the past. I did post one. I did have one recently. I don't do those as often. I may have to save that for a Q&A on that other site because I don't want to get this smited by the higher ups on YouTube. But yeah, tipping there, you also gain access to two naughty audios that had some really taboo content, and I didn't feel comfortable letting it be out in the open. So yeah, if you feel obliged to leave me a tip, if you want to do a one-shot thing, or if you do want to subscribe, that would be awesome. Give me some more spending money for Katsucon next weekend, and hopefully, yeah, this was a bit of an interesting experiment to do. So yeah, if you want to see me do more streams like this again, do subscribe to my channel. I don't know how often I'm going to be doing these. Probably not this week because I got some other stuff. It's Valentine's Day and Katsucon. I gotta finish preparing for that. So yeah, thank you so much to everybody who watched this, be it right now live or after the fact. 3 hours 11 minutes. Jesus. Anyways, so yeah, thank you so much. Links to my coffee and my Tumblr are in the audio description, and hopefully I'll see you around. Bye bye. Yes, I do want to end this.